few years ago, of course, I had already been an In-N-Out fan, but a few years ago, I saw that In-N-Out around San Francisco refused to like check, was it vaccine status? California at the time said in order to go into a restaurant, you have to show your vaccine card, which
Yeah.
is insane
Yeah.
to think about. And the In-N-Out locations were like, no. And even the head of legal here was like, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
So tell me what went into that decision.
Well, there were so many pressures and just hoops we were having to jump through. You know, you've got to do this. They have to wear a mask. You have to put this plastic thing up between us and our customers. And it was really terrible, you know. And I look back and I'm like, man, maybe we should have just pushed even harder on some of that stuff and dealt with all the legal backlash. But that was definitely where we held the line. Like, we're not policing our customers, you know. I mean, I think of my uncle saying, you know, we're not going to serve them something that we wouldn't eat. We want to give them the best. And it's like, I wouldn't do that to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want this and I don't expect them to want it. So, yeah.
That time, you know, and a lot of times, you know, I've been at a space where I've basically been exploring and kind of sort of like documenting what happened during the pandemic era. But one of the things that was playing out in the pandemic era at that particular time was that there was this massive government overreach when it came to different states. And I believe that was, you know, once you have to start living through it, when you're talking about 2020, 2021, so on and so forth, there was this massive government overreach where they were basically dictating what people could and couldn't do. You can't travel. You couldn't go to work unless you took the jab. You couldn't, you know, do any of the things that was meaningful to you, even go and get something to eat. I remember, because see, the one thing that Detroit never shut down unless just the whole grid had went down was the casinos. And if you were a person that went into a casino, so for example, I remember when they started to open up Vegas and then when they started to open up the casinos in Detroit, I walked past, and if you looked at like the dice tables and the blackjack tables and stuff like that, there was all of these big old barriers and plastic barriers. And if you went into a restaurant, it was similar. And that massive government overreach in a lot of these liberal places was the precursor to what you're starting to see today as far as the In-N-Out CEO saying that they're looking to now move over to Nashville, their headquarters, instead of staying in California.